Your host, Cole McRae. I'm come over here from the regular Blancpain series, but today I'm joined with a guest,
Ayrton Tobin here watching, and we're currently seeing Mike Stofmeel qualified in second. Minutes ago in qualifying.
I was going to say that is not something we expected at all.
Should take note here, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this is an open server, so this is not the standard ESR sign-up server, but we're going to have a lot more people in here, so forgive us if we don't know all these names.
Yes. There are certainly a number of returning champions here, but there are certainly a number that we do not recognize. Obviously, Stofmeel is a repeat offender. Mr. Corkery or Mrs. Bender. Darcy Parkinson is a name I haven't seen in a long time. Coconuts _666. So we have quite a bit of fun going on here. Maybe a little bit of shenanigans, but we'll see.
But just looking at the lineup right now, looking at D. Del Rey sitting pretty above Mike Stofmeel. Mole. Got, I believe this is Matt Higgs,
Matt
correct?
Higgs, indeed,
Matt
yep.
Higgs down in fifth. Let's see. We've got Iwanchuk, Mr. Wallace as well.
Travis Wallace.
Wesley Stokes. Christopher Streppin. So we've got some pretty common names in here sitting in the top 10. No real surprise there. Maybe it's a little surprising to see if a Streppin down in ninth. Not exactly quite on Stofmeel's tail.
I'm just going to make up names for people who I don't know their first names. Thomas Binder. I do know Darcy Parkinson. Hashtag awesome sauce coconuts _666. Andy Anderson. Enrique Friesen. Dragon Simeonitis. Ricardo Navone. Tishia LaBeouf. Jerome Vandervalk. Richard
All
Scott.
right.
There's a bunch of people here.
Getting to the real meat of the course here, we're looking at Barker, Pichia, Magus, DeGroot, Hurst, Perez Torres, Heroes, Ichazo, and Butler. A lot of familiar names down there.
Yeah, so it's surprising we've our veterans of racing, not just this series because this is an ARCO round, are kind of in the back of the pack, which is not something I kind of expected to see. A lot of our newcomers seem to be hogging the top spots. I, truth be told, did not expect that.
But it's looking like that Aston Martin must have the best top speed, considering Corkery in that Aston Martin took the fastest Sector 3, which is just pure straight line speed.
And I'm just going to say that it is a travesty to those with vision that the V8 Vantage is the only one that's here. Hats off to the V12 Vantage last gen, which unfortunately is slower, so we don't get to get our eyes graced by it. Looks like Del Real is doing some victory revs on the starting line. His car's excited. It's ready to go, or maybe it just needs to pee. We'll see.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, where's Dizzity starting? Okay. We can't return to garage. Oh, F2 there. We can probably return to garage after the race starts, maybe. F2.
Stand by, folks. Here we go.
So we are doing a little bit of experiment here. Unfortunately, our director tool, which we currently use, looks like people are doing some wheelies. Our director tool has failed us, so we're going to have to fudge together a little bit of a creative solution. We're currently using only keyboard and mouse to control this.
Yep, we are indeed broadcasting from within the game, as you might be able to tell.
No,
Fortunately,
this is real life. This is real life.
Fortunately, there is not a director's tool, but we do have some tools at hand.
We have a little bit of a workaround. Everyone's using their hydraulics. Everyone's got their lowriders engaged on the start.
Mike Stofmeel ready to blast off. You see him pointed upwards.
Oh yeah, he's got his rockets engaged. He's got his eyes on the prize. So this is gonna be one of our longer races. If you may not know, the IGT series has a mixture of 90-minute and 60-minute races. A majority of them are 90, but we do have a couple of 60s in there.
And here we go.
Well, this is just going to be the formation lap, I think.
Oh boy, we may have a full Bathurst formation lap.
Yeah, we're doing a formation lap.
All right, gentlemen, let's do this cleanly. Please.
We got an Aston Martin inside a Bentley. Ooh, a human car repeat. It looks like. So on board with Diego Del Real. Okay, so with Team Hub Auto Corsa, never seen him, but glad to see him in our little series here. Hopefully this formation lap is better than the one we had at Paul Ricard, which, as you may remember, involved people off. No, what? Oh yeah, we are.
We are going
no
green.
formation lap. Interesting. Did not know that.
Start at the last corner. Nice. All right.
And immediately Stofmeel's into the lead.
Stofmeel. Oh, here we go, folks.
Yes. And now we can go to garage. Yes. So
There
there we
we
go. So this is our
are.
kind of workaround. Unfortunately, we do get to see all the schedules, but that is a small price to pay for this wonderful race coverage we have here. So immediately, Stofmeel into the lead. We have lots of people in the background, of course. Got a lot of action going on. Once our timing sheet updates here, we'll be able to give you more
Looks
accurate.
pretty well sorted out up front. Let's take a look a little bit further back.
Yeah. It is just... we had a little bit of lag issue there. No problem. Everything kind of sorted itself out. Shout out to Darcy Parkinson and probably our only McLaren today. Not too many of those being picked in spite of them being one of the most gorgeous cars ever to grace the God's green earth. John Barker, of note, in the Honda NSX. The stalwart Honda fan.
Let's take a look. Did anyone get left behind at the start?
Car
No.
Heroes in our BMW M6. Wow.
Impressive to see. No one. Looks like no one spun because no one is too far behind at the start.
So Car Heroes has been one of those to jump around. He's been in almost every car I can think of. McLaren, Porsche. I think he was in a Lexus at one point. So it's been all over the place.
Ooh, fancy livery here for Javier. Chasing down Douglas DeGroat and Michael Magus.
Looks like you got white flags waving. So
Back up front, it looks like Stofmeel, Del Rail, Moly Moly open up a bit of a gap here between them.
So, as we sort of begin to finish our first lap, Stofmeel is still being chased down by Diego Del Real, which is certainly reflective of his qualifying performance. Wonder if we might have a battle. Oh, never mind. Stofmeel's disappeared into the distance. Where'd he go? Oh, nope, not too far. So he's struggling a little bit. I'm curious as to Matt Higgs down to 6th place, so he qualified.
Oh, well, he's
5th.
going for a pass.
Oh, yeah, going for a pass on Christoph Verstappen. No, Corkery. Okay.
Higgs, Corkery.
Carlos is what I'm going to assume his name is. So we have quite a variety here. This is by far our biggest field to date, at least in the ACC GT Series. Last season in the Blancpain Series, we only had a maximum of 18 people. That wasn't server limited, by the way, nor was it grid limited. So we just didn't have that many people, probably due to scheduling conflicts. However, with this majestic coronavirus pandemic going on, people are sat on their asses and bored. So they figure might as well pop into these racing sessions.
Well, folks, I'll tell you, I don't know what happened. Maybe he was held up behind someone in qualifying. That's very possible around this track. But Mike Stofmeel is currently just gone.
It's only about a second and a half about.
Second and a half and about a lap and a half is...
Well, I mean, you know, you never know. I for one, am hopeful that our new savior Diego will be able to stick it to Stoff and make him pay for his transgressions. Just kidding.
See, looking back in the field,
it's like Doug DeGroat and Mike Magus. Oh, Magus goes off immediately.
Mike Magus.
That was. Would we call that a commentator's curse?
Yeah, that may just have been a commentator's curse.
Well,
if we hadn't shown it, I was thinking it.
Yeah, he went off in Mick Finley Park. Unfortunately, due to lack of director, we don't have our rewind functionality. But luckily, we were able to get it. We were able to catch the accident.
You know, it looked like he might have just gotten a little loose, a quick little overcorrection there, and unfortunately, he is pretty far.
He's in last.
Yep, you're right.
He's
in last. But you know what? We have a very long ways to go, and Mike here is just wonderful at keeping a steady head and working his way forward. So I think he can absolutely be looking for maybe top 15. I think he can do it.
I think so.
It's a long race. A lot of mistakes yet to be made by people.
Well, I can say even if he doesn't, Ayrton's probably going to be taking my job with the way he talks about Mike like that. Just give him a little ego stroke there. I gotta say,
I think there was too much HUD on his screen. Honestly,
I think Mike is the worst driver. His car should probably explode just out of spite. Just kidding, love you, Mike.
I think it's just over HUD.
Too much HUD. Yeah, it's getting in his face.
Anyways,
Matt
up
Higgs
front, it's pretty
6.
spread out up front.
So looks like Matt Higgs was not able to hold that pass he made on Corkery, which is a shame because Matt Higgs is also another really solid driver. He obviously not up to like well, not obviously, but he's sometimes not up to Verstappen and definitely not up to Stofmeel. But he can be very solid. Oop, taking
Travis Wallace, meanwhile, looking pretty strong here, all over the back of Higgs.
We haven't seen much of Mr. Wallace. He was there for I think Zandvoort. No, I mean Nürburgring. My bad. I think he was there for Nürburgring and perhaps also Monza, but I don't remember. Okay. But really, the real wild card here is Mr. Coconuts _666, which just has my favorite name. Oops, I misclicked. Oh no, I didn't. So currently leading the charge in 12th place against Andrew Anderson, Dimitri Simeonitis, and Ricardo Navone. So that is where he qualified. We actually haven't seen too many mix-ups here, with the lone exception of that crash that Mike Magus had the last lap. It's been pretty smooth sailing thus far. Ricardo Navone losing a spot to Elias Freisen and one to Shia LaBeouf. Oh no, it looks like Navone had a crash. What happened? Oh, that's not good. Navone is one of our stalwart heroes of the series, but yeah, he's just in a ditch. Looks like he had to go back to the pits. So that's just unfortunate. So Mr. Wallace battling against Corkery. What happened to Higgs? Higgs down to 9th. So Higgs must have had an off, maybe on the last corner. That seems likely. It's a very popular place to go off. Murray's Corner is one of the more deceptively confusing and deadly corners on Bathurst. So not that much of a surprise, but an unfortunate circumstance to be sure. So Matt Higgs down to 9th. Ricardo Navone retired from the race, which has unfortunately been maybe there's a connection issue, because he had some big problems at Paul Ricard last race, and it's certainly possibly Wallace getting really squirrely and close to that wall, but keeping it off. Good for him. I don't know what the damage is like in this game. I haven't played it very much, but if it's anything like Race Room, it is pretty deadly.
Well, Cole, while he's pushing hard, I say we should give a little ride on board here with Mike Stofmeel. See exactly how he's pushing. In fact, let's give him a little crank it up for this lap.
Oh god, you're cranking it up. What is this, NASCAR?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Oh. You suck at this.
Here we go, folks. On board.
Alright, that was a wonderful lap of Bathurst by Mike Stofmeel. Oh, it's good to hear that roaring Jaguar V8. Sounds kind of like a Jaguar, if I do say so myself. In the interim, we did see a couple of unfortunate happenstances. Wesley Stokes down to 20 seconds, so he looks like he had an off somewhere. But unfortunately, we weren't able to watch it live, but I did catch it, and we're obviously commenting on it. Darcy Parkinson up to 9th place, so making a little bit of a run. Again, weren't able to see what happened. Maybe there was.
It looks like Matt Higgs as well has dropped behind Travis Wallace and Iwanchuk.
Yeah, Murray and Travis.
Although they're fighting a nice classic battle from last season.
Higgs with a bit of a dive, but he ended up making it work out. That was a little bit bold, but hey, if it's not going to be bold, give it a flash of his own lights for a celebration, I suppose. But yeah, it's all. Diego Del Real is actually pulling a little bit on Mike Stofmeel, so was up to 1.5 seconds at the start of the race, then was down to 1.8 seconds, now down to a single second. So I don't know if there's any ballast or something like that going on, but Diego is certainly holding his own. He is not one of our registered participants, I believe. I can't say for certain because my website crashed, but
he's certainly holding steady with Stofmeel, putting some pressure on him.
Yeah.
Looks like Verstappen is up to 4th from 9th place, so having a very nice little charge here.
Yeah.
Looks like at some point he managed to get his way all the way past Parkinson, Iwanchuk, Higgs, Wallace, and Corkery, so I'd call that a very successful opening stint.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna jump in here on the mid. It looks like John Barker sitting in 15th. In fact,
I have a picture of this if you want.
It looks like Barker has made his way from 20th up to 15th. Not bad at all.
John Barker has been one of our more steady participants. Although props to him for sticking with the NSX. That has proven to not be the fastest car, especially on these tracks with very long straights as Bathurst. The Evo is certainly faster than the regular NSX, but it still lags behind just slightly. He ended up pulling a very solid solid run in Barcelona when we had that race in the regular series. But that was probably his top finish. I believe he was 7th. I can't remember.
Looks like Anderson's currently in our closest fight, right behind Binder. Not sure how you pronounce his name here.
Yeah, I believe he's another one of our non-registered drivers. I'll just take a look real quick here, but yeah, we have a bunch of wild cards in here.
It's Aston Martin. Pleasure to listen to as always. Not the screaming Aston
Thomas
Martin.
Binder. So I guess his name right the first time.
I think someone splashed a little extra paint on that Ferrari ahead.
Yeah. Do you think that Aston Martin has enough rev lights? I'm not sure.
Well, let's see. Are they in use is the question.
They're not, I don't think. So, excellent. Glad they put him on there. Meanwhile, Moly holding on to 3rd place. Somewhat distant gap up to Del Real. Ooh, Del Real down to 3/10 behind Stofmeel. Let's say we pop on for that. So he's able to have some good laps. I wonder if Stofmeel made a mistake, or perhaps more likely is saving fuel or tires or something. This is a 90-minute race with ×2 time multiplier. I don't know how.
I'd ring him up to get his opinion, but unfortunately, I think he's busy. Maybe if we get a caution flag, we can call him.
Yeah, we should.
I would love to know
him.
what's going through their heads right now.
We should distract them. Yeah. One second, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's see who has the power. It looks like that Jaguar has the better power, considering Del Real is in his wake and still just is not catching up.
Yeah, so the Jaguar is one of the more faster cars. Yes, that's a phrase. One of the faster cars in a straight line in this sim. Not nearly, it's a little slower compared to the Bentley. But it just does not have the cornering ability. The Bentley is also down on cornering, but the Jaguar is just that much worse. So hence why it's not very often chosen.
Well, folks, I thought we were going to have to be looking back through the field to get a close fight, but the closest fight is for the lead, so
I know.
we're in for a real treat here.
We're living the dream.
Not too much he can do heading into Quarry Bend. fact that he really doesn't have the top line speed to overtake Stofmeel is going to make this difficult, considering he's faster through the curves, but
Yeah.
you can't pass through these curves.
Oh yeah, it's a real frustrating situation to be in. Obviously, the easier place to overtake is during the straights, and Diego is going to have to make moves in this uphill section or the downhill section.
Even if he gets a tremendous run out of forced elbow, I don't know how he can get a run down Conrad straight into the chase to pass him.
He's going to just have to make some tremendous time around, say, Solman, the park streets of Solman and McPhilmy.
It's true. The only real place where you should try to pass would be if you can get a run through Quarry Bend into the cutting. That's risky, but
so that's the uphill, the start of the uphill section. So right after the long sweeping right-hander, that kind of brings us into the uphill, which is a really dangerous place to pass. It's certainly the place where a car with more handling can make up the most time, I would say, but...
Certainly his best bet is going to be during pitting. Can he undercut him? We haven't really seen Stofmeel have to use any sort of pit strategy as long as I've seen him. He generally isn't under threat from anyone, but he's going to have to pit at the optimal time here.
So, yeah, we even with the perhaps the slight straight line disadvantage, we're seeing Diego del Real having... just not losing at all.
Always flashing
lights, so he's on the hunt. Not very often do we see a horse going after a panther or jaguar, but I guess it happens today. I'm surprised that one of those raging bulls is not looking in their rearview mirror.
They
still 3/10, so he's holding on. He's able to make some magic happen. Maybe just the weight of that jaguar is enough.
I was wondering if it was possible that we didn't see. Maybe Stofmeel tapped a wall somewhere, took a little damage. But no, they combined are pulling away from the rest of the field. So Stofmeel's still running fast. It's just...
Yeah.
Del Real is really stepping up his game.
Yeah, definitely. Molly... Yeah, so we can see the gap to Molly is up to 6.5 seconds. It was 5 seconds flat just a lap and a half ago. So, you know, they're definitely pulling away.
Right here could be a possible pass attempt.
Matt Higgs down to 7th place. So I wonder what happened there.
Let's take a real quick look back here. Has any activity happened in the back? It looks like De Groot is... Okay, De Groot has dropped to the back, so something has happened there.
I think De Groot might have retired. Oh, wait, no, we're on board.
On board.
So never mind, he hasn't. Magus is...
Magus, meanwhile, has tracked down Javier Perez-Torres.
Oh,
Javier, what are you doing? Javier!
No!
Monsieur, you have disgraced us.
Oh.
We have done the commentator's curse.
Javier, we aren't 30 minutes in. You told me 30 minutes.
Javier, you must drink less Cabernet, or maybe more Cabernet.
Well, with that, our eyes turn back to the lead.
Maybe we can curse Stofmeel into dying in a painful car accident. Just kidding.
That sounds terrible.
Not a car accident. Maybe just losing a tire or something. That'd be better. Just kidding. We love you, Mike.
Now, no, I'm rooting for Stofmeel here because I wouldn't say he's at a disadvantage, but Del Real is running faster laps. He's just stuck behind him.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, again, we're just coming back to that thing where, it's having a car that's better in the corners is a blessing, but not when you're trying to pass someone.
Certainly for qualifying, that helps to get up front, but race, I mean, Stofmeel jumping out up front turn 1 was just everything.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to why Stofmeel started on the inside. No, he started on the outside, which actually makes sense now that I think about it. Never mind. But, I mean, Del Real's still able to hold on. And, as we've seen with the draft, he's not losing really any time on the straights. Maybe just a tad. But
I believe this is the closest he's been.
He's eating him up during the uphill section. So,
if he can get a real good run through this turn. But then again, we are very early on. I can't imagine he's going to attempt some risky overtake here. It's better just stay behind him than try and pass him in the pits. That would certainly be the calm, collected move.
yeah.
Unless he thinks he's really being held up by Stofmeel, in which case he needs to get out ahead and get away.
I think, we're running into a situation where the drivers are almost too good for each other. Because, simultaneously, because if you knew that you could pass a guy ahead of you, it'd be better just to hang him back and just kind of put on pressure but not make any bold moves. However, it's also perfectly possible that Stofmeel is doing the same thing despite being in the lead. So we could run up into a situation where both of them are poised to take a really hard run into the last few laps, and they just,
Oh yeah, Stofmeel can absolutely be taking it nice and easy over those curves, preserving his tires, and then just saving them for a nice big run out of the last turn, as we saw here.
And then, but ideally, Del Real would also do that, being in second place, not having to worry too much about pushing too hard. So we just don't know. Unfortunately, without a line to the drivers, we can't say for certain.
Moy hanging on in third, but he is 8 seconds back at this point, so...
Yeah, 8.5 seconds.
Let's hold it here, because this is...
I was going to say we should...
this is getting close.
Real flashing his lights again. So I wonder what he's feeling right now.
But even on that short little straight from the chase into Murray's corner, you could see that Jag stretch his legs.
Down to 1/4 of a second, so Real is still making some time. I don't see...
This is going to be it. He has to get a nice run out, which he did.
Yeah, I mean... Well, he's still got an hour and 9 minutes left. He has plenty of time.
He's closing, but then the Jag starts to pull away, even without the benefit of the draft.
Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting race of strategy here. It's unfortunate we can't see tire wear right now, but that's a nice camera angle. Oh, that one too. Ooh, getting real close to that wall. So this corner right here is the one where Diego could potentially make up the most time, and it looks like he has right on Stofmeel's tail.
I mean, if you're talking a last lap fight, you can absolutely throw it in there. You might bump a guy, you might push him wide, someone's gonna be mad, but it can be done if it has to be done somewhere.
Oh, and we see, being in second place that close with a car faster in the corners is both a blessing and, oh my gosh, eating Stofmeel alive during that section. They're almost touching bumpers nose to nose. But that's maybe not an enviable position for Diego, because, I mean, you at some point you gotta get close as you can to try and set up a pass, but also you gotta you can't hit him. You gotta be a little bit cautious. So it's a bit of a balancing act. I'm kind of surprised he's holding so close.
Take a real quick look here in the back. There isn't too much going on. Just looks like all of these drivers, except for someone Boz.
I don't remember Boz being here at the beginning.
They are all running. We have not lost drivers, though. That's a good sign.
Ricardo Navone. Ricardo Navone retired.
That's right.
Anyhow, maybe we pop on board with Mr. Higgs.
Quick look here at Higgs, because we should have a real
What is the
tight
camera
fight.
doing?
Oh!
So Verstappen getting past Wallace. Oh no! Wallace getting past Verstappen. Higgs passes him, and it looks like everyone's spinning.
And there's Elon
Chuck going for the gold. Wow, that was a bold move. It was a little bold, but he made it work. So no flags going on there. So we see now Wallace Higgs up into fifth, or Higgs up into sixth. Murray Iwanchuk up into fifth.
Corkery made out well at some point. I think he got ahead of that group just before all that happened.
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah. So Iwanchuk, Higgs, Wallace.
Higgs is now back in, now within spitting distance of where he qualified.
Wallace Verstappen. So in the grand scheme, none of these guys lost out to the driver behind them, and if they avoided any, major damage, they should be fine.
Wallace is not happy. Coconuts, sorry, is not happy. He was flashing his lights just there.
Well, that was...
Oh! So, Higgs...
That was Higgs, and he is running a little wide. I wonder if
touching the wall. I wonder if he took some damage.
Might be a little aero damaged.
I mean, yeah, Iwanchuk made out like a bandit in that exchange. Higgs didn't get out too bad, but it's possible he could have suffered some damage.
Our leaders close together, as we would expect at this point.
Down to under 1/4 of a second.
You just can't get closer through there, though.
I'm surprised he's even that close. Like, unless he's trying to set up a pass, I would stay like a half second away, because you're still well within the draft.
It's a lot of pressure on him, but it's also putting pressure on Stofmeel, and he's kind of just calling his bluff.
Stofmeel is a pretty, he's pretty well under pressure, but I don't think he's ever really been under this much pressure before. Obviously, his car is slower than Diego's, but Diego has been...
I have seen
half a second faster.
All on his own once at Bilsterberg. So
I do remember that, yeah.
It is possible.
Oh, Diego giving another light flash.
He's as close as ever.
Yeah. So he's just piling on the pressure.
Here we go.
Truckloads of it. So as we come into our 13th lap, being a little bit wide, so losing a little bit of time. That was the one place he really doesn't want to lose that much time because
unfortunately, I mean, since he missed out there, he's just looking at another lap behind him.
Well, again, they do have a full hour and 5 minutes left, and we can see the Ferrari just eats that Jaguar alive, even in just one corner under braking. Actually, well, they are going a lot slower now. But yes, he right on. Oh, going wide, but able to
He's running
salvage
wide.
it.
I think if he took his normal line, he basically would have rear-ended that Jag, though. So
That's a good point. So maybe he just broke a little too late, or that, or Stofmeel couldn't brake as early as, or as late as he wanted to. So Bathurst is definitely one of the more challenging tracks in our roster. We also in this season we have Laguna Seca. Allow me to pull up our race list.
Watching Friesen here, following
I believe that's
Parkinson.
Eric. I believe his name is Eric.
Oh, there's some pretty looking cars.
Yeah. God, I love the 720S. So pretty. Yeah, so this first event is Mount Panorama, Bathurst, obviously. Next race will be Laguna Seca. The one after that will be Suzuka Circuit. And the one after the final race, the 4th, on May 24th, will be Kyalami. Which I've never actually seen before, so it'll be
very, very close for Del Real heading into the chase.
Down to under 0.2 of a second. Honestly, more than anything, I'm curious as to what's gonna, what he's planning here. So, LaBeouf in the pits now. Wonder if he took some damage from an accident in the past.
I imagine most drivers will be doing a single pit stop here. Surely, yeah, you wouldn't try two. I'm not certain. I believe the rules of this series are you have to take tires.
I believe that's correct.
But 90-minute lap GT3 cars, that will absolutely require fuel.
Yes, so
75 minutes require a bit of fuel, so 90 minutes will certainly require fuel. So
now passing, we see our leaders passing, is that Javier Perez Torres? Yeah. I believe so.
So I assume that would mean every driver is going to be taking 4 tires and fuel, no more, no less. There's really no wiggle room there.
Yeah, and as you posited, that is correct. There is a mandatory pit stop with only tires required, but I doubt, it's unlikely you're going to be able to make 90 minutes on one tank of gas. So that begs the question, what is
tremendous here
doing?
though? Mole is a very fast driver, and yet he is falling behind these two drivers who are just locked bumper to nose. So these guys, even under this pressure, are putting in some phenomenal laps.
Now we see Travis Wallace going into the pits. What are we looking at?
No, we can't see lap time here.
If we go into drive, we can switch the HUD to see their best lap. So yeah, we see best lap 2:02.6 for Diego, which is very
Last
fast.
lap was
2:04.6.
2:04. Okay, so they've fallen off about 2 seconds per lap here.
And obviously
Makes sense. We are a half hour into this run at this point.
So maybe they are trying to save some tires. Although one kind of begs the question why, because they only have to make it 45 minutes. The pit window opens with 5 minutes on either side of halfway through, so we'll be looking at 50 minutes left to 40 minutes left.
Connection?
What are you talking about?
I'm assuming these colored bars next to each driver name must be their ping, their connection.
We never figured that out. We talked that it might be like their driver level. I talked to Mike about that.
Everyone's pretty even
sure.
except for Chazo. I'm guessing that has to do with their latency.
Oh, it could be.
But here we go yet again.
Can we switch to the HUD? This one isn't showing caps. That's good enough.
Here we go.
So, as you can see,
Oh, hugging that wall.
last lap was a 2:03. So yeah, putting on a good show in spite of being some way in.
Within 8/10 of his best lap.
Of
Very
note,
strong.
Diego has 3 is on the third stop of traction control, so he's got a very low traction control setting. I'm not sure if what the engine maps do. Oh, right on the stop wheels.
It's mostly fuel usage.
Well, right, but I'm not sure what the number means. So right now it's on 1 out of 12. I assume that's most aggressive.
I'm quite certain that is, most aggressive,
Yeah.
just flat out. Makes sense. You're not gonna make it on fuel anyways. There's not too much a point in saving fuel here.
Yeah. So you can see just the immense gain he's able to extract
this
on
is
Stofmeel.
the closest though.
Well, yeah, down to below 0.2 of a second.
Oh, he is right in that toe this time.
He's actually looking like he's making up some speed. So he's catching Stofmeel. Could we be seeing this pass? We're going back to the garage. Okay, no, it's not happening.
Yes.
Oh, no, he's not doing it. So close, though. That's probably smart. That is a dangerous place to try and... He's still flashing his lights, so...
Still flashing. Oh, he is close, though.
Maybe he is. Maybe Diego is trying to push as hard as he can.
He was on his bumper. I would have figured if there was a time, it was then.
Looks like it.
Let's see. If he doesn't pass this turn, I am just going to guess he won't pass later in the lap. No. So, looking back down, I see there's a bit of a fight here.
So we got Andy Anderson, Darcy Parkinson, and I believe Eric Friesen. I need to check on that name just to make sure. We're seeing an all... Oh, never mind.
Looks like Verstappen has fallen down to 11th. So started 9th, made his way up to 4th.
It started 8th, but yeah.
And is back in 11th.
So it's a wild ride for Christoph.
Simeonitis as well. I believe... Where did he start at?
He started at 15th.
Okay, running 16th.
So Demetrius is having a pretty good day. Dixon Hurst also having a reasonable day. Looks like John Peachy got a drive-through. I would venture to guess that's because of pit speed limits. That's what it usually is.
Probably.
Javier making his way up to 20th. Mike Magus is a fair ways out,
He
but it looks
is
like he's
having
going
an
slow.
issue.
Mike Magus is...
Something...
His car looks worse for wear. It looks like he suffered some
I
heavy front-end
believe he
damage.
must have hit the wall at some point, and unfortunately...
Uh-oh. Let's go back on board with...
Oh, those are the leaders.
That's the leaders.
Oh, those are the leaders.
Oh, his steering looks toast. What? Okay, I'm actually kind of curious if Perez Torres is able to catch up to Magus. I think so.
Absolutely.
He's got half a minute to go, but...
The question is going to be, is Magus going to be able to pit here and repair that, or is his race over?
He's going to have to. I can't...
I'm just not sure if he can even repair that much damage. It looks...
I've seen people repair a pretty hefty amount of damage in this game.
Let's see.
No, just...
Oh, he's just on his bumper.
They have contact, a little bit of contact. So he likes the headlight button. Diego Del Real likes that headlight button. Mike Stofmeel just keeping that wide Jaguar just parked right in front of Del Real.
Alright, he's going to take a nice wide approach, try and get a run out of here.
Looks like it might have worked. Want to pop on board? We're already there. We're now running to Stofmeel.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, good idea. Diego Del Real chats so he's not.
All right, so he had some time to type out here.
Maybe he just has a preset. That was 6 minutes ago.
That was 6 minutes ago. My goodness.
Good to get some feedback from our drivers. Oh, way in. He's going a little bit onside, but it's not going to be enough. Hits the wall. I wonder if that was the lag issue, if he actually did hit the wall. If he actually hit the wall, then that could be devastating to... I think it might have been a lag thing, because he just did it again.
I have to imagine so. All right. Meanwhile, I want to check in...
Matt Higgs just passed Mr. Corkery.
Let's check. I'm assuming, yep, he is...
Magus is pitting.
He is pitting, repairing his damage. Matt Higgs up to 4th. Not
yeah,
bad.
So passing Corkery. So now he is ahead of his qualifying position of 5th. So that's good.
But his number is still 555, so I want to see him back in 5th.
Corkery, take him out. Can't let this slide. He does have quite a battle left to go, because...
Not... Our cameraman, I'm sorry, we need to fire him.
Yeah, he's got it. Hey,
We'll have a
man,
word with
he's
his
disabled. We can't fire him.
Here we go. Del Real has been getting much more aggressive lap after lap.
Getting a little bit of lag. Well, the problem is where he's clearly faster than Stofmeel, at least in this current setting, is under braking. But that Jaguar is so wide and the roads are so thin that getting a pass under braking is just nearly impossible.
You know, he is getting through the chase faster. I think Murray's corner, that very last left-hander, might be his best bet at this point. He's been on his tail, and honestly, all it takes... Oh, here we go, just like that.
Alongside. Oh, they are side by side. Let's go up outside.
Just like that. There we go.
Now the problem is he's got to make up time on the outside, and so he wasn't able to do it. That Jaguar just has too much straight line speed, too much power. If he can get him up into Quarry Bend, which is this next corner, this uphill right-hander, that could be something.
I definitely just can't imagine passing around the outside of Quarry Bend.
That'd be very dangerous, but we've seen it happen before. Now coming into the cutting, which is another place that he potentially has a huge advantage over Stofmeel's Jaguar. Taking a very nice, tidy outside line.
He lost a bit of ground just in that whole maneuver there by not pulling up behind him down the straight, but he's he's going to be stuck on his back through here.
What was he going to do? Yeah, there was just not a whole lot of choices there to make. Or not a lot of options to take, rather.
Can we see if they have pitted?
Yes. So
this shows who's in the pits, but does that show if they have pitted?
Maybe.
Yes, those two are both.
Maybe they forgot to make it mandatory pit stops. Oh, Car Heroes.
Oh, Car Heroes.
Well, at least getting off the track in time.
Appears to be running a custom livery here.
Yep. So yeah, ordinarily those green bars would be orange, which signifies that they hadn't pitted, and when they turn green, that means they have pitted. Looks like they might have forgotten, the server manager might have forgotten to set that preference to be engaged.
I'll give him some slack. I think he's having a rough day.
No, I'm not blaming him.
Oh!
Diego de Roy hitting Mike Stofmeel. Oh,
Stofmeel did his
just a tiny bit of a nudge as they came
best
into
to hold it, and
the
also
chase.
is Del Rey going to give that position up? It really looks like he's holding still.
Nope.
He waited up for him, which has allowed Molly right here.
No, that's Higgs.
No, that's Molly.
Oh, it's Molly. Oh, it's Audi, right?
Oh.
So Molly.
Oh, passing by Stofmeel. All right.
I mean, that was if we could rewind it, I would. But that seemed like a pretty innocent mistake. It looked like he just gave him a teeniest bit of a nudge.
You know, they went in there to pass around this track. You're basically gonna have to rub up on someone, and that happened. I don't know if Stofmeel was prepared for it.
I don't think that'll be worthy of a penalty to Real. It might be. Well, Real is in the pits now. So he looks to be taking his pit now, which is smart. We are nearing our halfway point.
Well, I would certainly think that, considering how much more pace he seemed to have once he was out front, I would have thought he would just stayed there, pulled away. But I guess he's going for the undercut. He's going to get some fresher tires on that for sure.
Definitely. So Murray Iwanchuk also in the pits.
Of note, he isn't splitting his pit down the middle.
So Molly is actually in front of Mike Stofmeel now.
Here we go.
I wonder...
Although, given the pace, the difference we saw earlier, I can't imagine this is terribly problematic.
If Molly's able to hold on at least through this downhill section, that could be the ticket Diego needs to hold on to this
Absolutely.
victory.
Every lap, Stofmeel's trap behind Molly here is just a massive problem for him. Not in passing Molly. I don't think that's in the long run going to be a problem, but just in letting Del Real escape.
And conversely, if Molly is able to make up some time, because still, as you can see, he's making up some pace on Stofmeel in this downhill section just because of how problematic that Jaguar's handling is. If he can make up enough space to stay ahead through the chase, through this straight, it'll mean another lap stuck behind Molly for Stofmeel, which again just puts Del Real in that much better of that much better of a position.
Let's take a look and see.
Molly was able to make some time on Stofmeel through that windy section. The Ferrari, I'm not sure how the Ferrari compares to the Audi.
Has he pitted?
I believe so.
Where is Del Real? There he is.
So up, down into.
He's gonna need to start making his way through this traffic.
I think most of the people in front of him have not pitted. So
absolutely. Well, he should be the first one.
Yeah.
Stofmeel is okay.
Now
he is
Stofmeel
pitting.
Pits. So
good call.
He's had enough of Molly. So
imagine his mind
has
is
Higgs
racing
already
right
pit?
now.
No.
Nope. Higgs is not pitted. Let's see if he will. Nope.
Nope. So we're seeing that's not Butler. Is that Vandervalk? That might be Vandervalk. Yeah.
Yep.
So Javier Torres going into
Up to 19th. Fantastic.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay, there we go.
Although
Nope.
I'm not sure what he's doing.
Oh, there is a V12 Vantage.
Oh, yes, there is.
With that lovely sound. Let's find it.
Let's find it indeed.
It's probably down back. Oh, it is Ichazo.
Izzy Chazo.
Let's do another turn it up.
Right. Okay, he's going to the pits.
Ah, damn it. Okay.
we'll
Well,
catch him later when things
Higgs
settle
has
down.
passed Stofmeel because he's in the pits. Corkery. Let's go on board with Del Real. We need to see if he's able to make up time enough to get past him. Wait, what? Is that a yes?
This is Del Real.
Yeah, no, it is Del Real, but like, does that mean he passed Stofmeel just now? Did Stofmeel take some damage and have to repair it? Because if he's in the pits still. You're 7th. Wait, what?
This is not.
He's definitely behind.
very
So
late.
once he passes the next timing gate, we'll see where he is. I suspect he'll be in
Well,
the neighborhood of 13th or 14th.
Yep, we can see Del Real is indeed
Up
going
nine.
through the cutting at the moment. Stofmeel is about 2 turns behind at this point. So through that entire exchange, whether it was repairing any damage, maybe it was a worse in lap, maybe it was just, I imagine it was the fact that he was held up for a couple laps
by Mole.
by Mole. So he has his work cut out for him today. 48 minutes, long ways to go, but he no longer has the lead, and it's just not a clean race anymore with, the pack behind you. Now the entire field is spread so far throughout the track, you're going to be encountering traffic all day.
Yeah, so it looks like Del Real taking that pit
All right,
Oh,
in the running order, Stofmeel is behind Del Real at the moment, though. In fact, Del Real being behind Binder.
it looks like, oh no, he's able to make runs, so that's not going to hurt him too much.
Maybe. We'll see how
He's got the
Binder
inside.
wants to play here.
You got the inside to the next turn. I can't imagine that'll be too big of a problem.
Yep, he's got him. Oh. Bold
Nah,
move,
oh.
getting across there.
Bender's trying to hold on. That's not going to happen, but I mean, props for trying.
See if Bender pits here.
Nope.
That's not what Stofmeel wants to see. He doesn't want to get.
I do like that livery. It's a little cool. So now Stofmeel is got Bender in between him and Del Real, which, I mean, we've seen that Bender is not quite up to the Del Real standard, but if Stofmeel catches Bender at the wrong time through that uphill section, that could be
Del Real caught
another
him at
hit.
the perfect time,
Yeah.
for sure.
If Stofmeel catches
So there's
Bender,
your gap. We're talking about 16.7 seconds between Del Real and Stofmeel. Meanwhile, up front, Moly.
still holding on.
Matt Higgs, Mr. Coconuts. I see blue flags waving.
Kind of surprised we haven't seen Toby Howard here. Looks like pretty substantial gaps have formed pretty much everywhere. That's an unfortunate reality of racing at Bathurst, one of our longer and more complicated tracks. Johnny Chasso. Props for choosing one of the most best cars.
And let's ride on board with him. right, well, there was a nice little lap with that.
Man, my heart's still
Vantage.
fluttering from that beautiful V12 sound. While it may not be the fastest car, I do think the V12 Vantage, the last gen one that Ichalso is running, is one of the most gorgeous and is also the best sounding. I will fight anyone who says
Mole is in the pits.
Looks like we just had a Mercedes pop in. I wonder if he's retiring. Ow.
Alright, so it looks like at this point, Anderson and Friesen are the last people running up front who haven't pitted yet.
Anderson's been a bit of a wild card, at least in the last ACC
Well, this
GT
is
Series.
interesting. It appears
It is Eric
Binder got by Del Real at some point.
I wonder if Del Real had made a mistake.
Very interesting. So Stofmeel at this point, 10 seconds from 16. So he's pitting a second time.
Looks like he took some damage. That might be the end of Del Real's race. At least for Stofmeel. The battle with Stofmeel. I wonder what happened.
I don't believe this game internally awards any sort of like drive-throughs for contact. I don't think that's a thing in this game.
Yeah.
He's pitting.
So I wonder what happened.
It's possible he didn't take tires, didn't...
Forgot to set that up.
Yeah, maybe he did something wrong with his pits, which would certainly contribute to gaining 16 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't take fuel. Unfortunately, we can't really see what's happening right here.
I wonder why he would do that, but you never know.
Pit timer, it's...
He's got his left turn signal on.
Fortunately, we can't really see what's happening here.
Well, now Matt Higgs is up in first. Followed in a distant second by Coconuts.
Matt Higgs, can he go all the way and never pit?
I hope not.
We've actually got a pretty tight fight here between Coconuts and Anderson for, at the moment, second place.
That's John Butler. Or James Butler.
Yes. Okay.
And Mr. Butler, I'm so sorry. You can friggin'
Interesting.
beat
But
me.
Mole has done his pits, and yet he's still ahead of Stofmeel at this point. Oh, Stofmeel.
Oh, Stofmeel off in the downhill. Trying to get by car here is clearly frustrated.
He's frustrated, but I'm not sure if he knows that Del Real has pitted a second time at this point. You would think that would, you'd think that would lift a lot of weight off his shoulders.
So Darcy Parkinson right behind Stofmeel. So we're toward the point in the race where what you see on course just doesn't matter anymore. Everyone's just all over the place. Wesley Stokes into 7th.
In the future, we have the access to jump in Discord with them and talk to them. We may just have to work out some sort of future arrangement. I would love to actually jump in there and ask Mike what is going on right now. Talk to some of these drivers.
So part of the reason we're doing this in a little bit of a new format is A, because we wanted to try, but B, because I was upgrading my streaming rig, my computer, and came into some really irritating problems that meant that I could not set up the streaming. So we're actually working off of Ayrton's computer right now. However, once I am able to get my computer up and running again, I do have some plans for the next round of the next season, of the GT3 series. Hopefully we can increase the production quality a bit, maybe even do live streaming like we are right now. As it stands, this is just a test. The cameraman's having a stroke, as usual, so there's nothing we can do about that. So stay tuned as we explore more of those options.
A small side note to anyone out there currently watching this live stream. We understand there may be issues with stuttering, momentary lapses in uploading. Those issues will all entirely go away upon the upload and watching the video after the live stream, so stick with us here. There will be issues with anyone viewing the current live stream.
Yeah, I think we kind of come to the conclusion that that's an encoding problem on YouTube's end. Obviously, if we haven't figured it out, then we can't work with it. And Matt Higgs into the pits, so we'll get to see where he slots in.
Very interesting to see where he comes out, relative to Mole.
So that pit strategy was just a nightmare for Diego Del Real. Now down over 50 seconds, almost a whole minute behind Stofmeel. So I wonder what happened with his pit strategy. That is an interesting question. Now Andrew Anderson making his way up to third. Has he pit yet?
No.
Okay.
The top three, aside from Higgs, who's currently pitting, have not. There we go. Coconuts is pitting. Anderson
probably should also be
will
quitting.
now be the last person to pit.
So
So
of
he
note-
will assume the lead.
So of note, since the mandatory pit stop is not set up, it seems like that we, because right now if Anderson hadn't pit, he would be shit out of luck. He would be saddled with a 150-second penalty. But since it appears that that hasn't been set up entirely.
Looks like we're down to 22 entries at this point. A few people have left.
Oh yeah, we were up to 29?
It was
28?
pretty high around there
Mhm.
early on.
So now we're back kind of more or less to the roster we would have had normally.
Let's take a look back here. What do we have? We've got Ichazo,
Vanderbilt.
Vandervalk, Parkinson, all pretty well spread out. Healthy gap back to Simeonitis.
Demetrius Simeonitis in the blue Aston Martin.
Travis Wallace, not showing his gap, but he appears to be a little ways back. Dixon Hurst. I want to say Dixon Hurst.
What?
So it looks like
I can tell you where anyone pit.
at the start of the race we had 27, and Dixon Hurst did qualify 25th. So, you know, a nice little job running up in 17th. Scott running 18th.
So John Barker ended up retiring. He was he was our only entrant in the NSX, and that's unfortunate.
That's true.
He just sent me a live message saying he's checking out the live stream, and it's okay. He says it's having some buffering issues, which we kind of expected.
As we expected, those will be entirely fixed after the stream re-uploads itself at the conclusion of itself. It'll be a very smooth video. We have tested that.
Yeah.
The live stream is completely an extra feature at this point. This is really just for the sake of uploading the video.
And with the side bonus of that is that it will get the video out earlier. Prior to this, I've had to manually edit, adjust levels, do a little bit of color correction, and then upload. As now, it seems to all be done sort of internally, so we can get that video up almost immediately after the race is over.
Yep,
So.
we will not have to wait all night for a 90-minute video to upload itself.
Yes. Unfortunately, maybe in the future, again, this will be kind of like a sustaining topic, but we're gonna introduce potentially some more like fancy features, production quality things. There's a potential that those might require that we not do it live. I'm not entirely sure though. We'll have to try. We'll have to see. It's all going to be an experiment. Luckily, we got a couple months before the next season starts. So Andy Anderson in the pits. Eric Friesen up into 8th place. So that's a pretty good a move for him.
All right, just
Eric Friesen started 14th, so made up 6 positions. That might put him in contention for our Hard Charger of the Race award.
Gonna ride silent with Stofmeel for 1 minute here. Just half a lap.
So as we come back, we see that Andy Anderson actually lost quite a few spots. I believe he's up in 8th and now down to 11th.
But once again, we have a pretty decent little fight for the lead here. Stofmeel chasing down Molloy. Also looks like the sun's starting to come out a bit more.
What a lovely day in Australia. Out here on the outback, gonna throw some shrimps on the barbie. Nobody's ever said that line before. Oh man, I could really go for some Fosters right now.
Looks like coconuts all over the back of Wesley Stokes as well.
Like I'm saying, I'm surprised Moley's still holding up Stofmeel. If he's able to hold him off until the end of the race, I'll eat my hat.
Nah, that's pretty good offer. I don't think it's happening. But as we saw before, I mean, passing here is not an easy thing. So 34 minutes to go. We're starting to get past that stage of, well, there's an hour left. Now we're getting into the stage of, all right, let's see this thing finish up.
Right, you all there, Tobin. Looks also like the Audi must be a little bit faster down the straights than the Ferrari is. It looks like it might be a little bit slower in the corners, but I can't really tell. We're gonna have to see, because it looked like Stofmeel is actually struggling to catch Moley at the last time we went down one of these straights. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it's going.
Okay.
I tried my best.
So, how do these cars actually compare down the straight? Great question.
I think the Audi is a little faster than the Ferrari.
Ooh.
So it might cut between the Ferrari and like the Bentley.
The question is it enough to neutralize the draft, as we saw with the Ferrari trying to chase down the Jag?
I still think the Jag is faster than the Audi. Plus, with the draft, it's going to be a monster. However,
we'll see. We're about to get a real good run here. In fact, let's jump on his board.
Jump on his board.
Jump on board. This should show us a real good view of just how that gap closes.
So as you can see, we're about 4 car lengths. It should widen up just because of the speed increase. Looks like he's getting a little. He's getting closer.
Which might be all it takes if he can exit that turn right on his tail. Yep.
Yeah. Oh no,
he's gained at least a car length.
Oh,
which
it's
could
several
be the
car
difference.
lengths. Yeah. But then the problem is the Audi. Oh, getting a little bit squirrely. The problem is that there's unfortunately the Jaguar is probably one of the worst cars in the series for cornering.
But unlike that Ferrari chasing down the Jaguar, it looks like this Jaguar does have the tools down the straight to get by that Audi.
Yeah. Well, the Ferrari was in the draft though, so the Audi giving the Jaguar the draft is like huge. He's holding on. So, I mean, yeah, Stofmeel is just faster than Moley. It looks like
Stofmeel is faster indeed. He had opened up a 10-second gap, but that little moment with Moley squeezing by amidst all the chaos was really fortuitous.
I think after this straight, let's pop on board with Darcy Parkinson.
He's not passing him here.
So we got a little bit of a battle opening up. Wait.
Timing appears to be off. It was showing a small gap for a moment.
So it looks like Parkinson. I thought Parkinson was actually behind Anderson, so maybe he just made up that pass. I don't know enough about the McLaren to say whether it's going to be able to pass on a straight line. Cameraman's looking at the trees.
Through all of this, Matt Higgs up in 3rd place despite that little shunt he had earlier.
He's got a big gap between him and Stofmeel, 20 seconds
He is,
almost.
but he,
that's respectable.
Oh, he has a very big gap back to 4th place.
Oh yeah.
Very big gap. So, just hold on here. He should be looking at a 3rd place finish, honestly.
As we approach our last half hour of the race, just everything is actually pretty solid. We don't have too many big battles brewing, which is both fortunate and unfortunate. Stofmeel is now down to a half of a second to Moley.
Although looking back at qualifying here, I see Mr. Coconuts. He started 12th.
So yeah, he made a great run. He might be our hard charger of the day. We do see Friesen made his way up to 6th.
14th to 6th, so not bad. Very nice. Anderson has gone from 13th to 11th. Okay. Simeonitis, just realizing now, who started 15th, has disappeared.
Has he retired? Yeah, he's retired.
He has retired.
So Demetrius Simeonitis out of the race. We are now down to 19 people. So that is
19 drivers. Oh, it appears we lost Perez Torres as well. Most likely a disconnection of some sort from reality, I suppose.
So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, they're just dropping like flies. Just out. Oh, so Parkinson cutting off the dipper. Or the S's, I guess that is.
Let's take a look. So, yep, I'm getting special news by carrier pigeon here from, indeed, Mr. Javier Perez Torres that a simple disconnection was the issue.
Unfortunate. So yeah, they wake. Oh, Magus.
Magus repaired his damage and is out rolling. You know, he's still there. 4 laps down, but hanging in like a champ. Always appreciate that. Heroes, looks like, alright, we're back a few laps between these drivers.
Always have a flyby of that V12 Aston Martin. I think the Aston Martin's probably. Whoa!
Oh!
Molly goes around.
Molly has gone around, although it looks like he
On the
was
front straight.
already.
On the front stretch.
He was already a little ways behind Stofmeel. Perhaps we had just missed a pass. And he was maybe, you know, getting a little overeager to get going after that.
Certainly possible. That is something we see happening quite frequently. So still
Well-
got 10 seconds back to Higgs, though. Looks like Higgs has actually lost some ground on Molly and Stofmeel, which isn't super unexpected. But it is, you know, a happening to be sure.
Well, looks like the universe has sorted itself out. Mike Stofmeel is alone, and Del Real, actually, I would have thought,
Down to 13th. Looks
I
like he
don't know
might have
if-
had another mistake.
yeah, I'm guessing he might have made a mistake. Perhaps he's damaged. He hasn't climbed his way back up at all, which is certainly surprising considering he looked to have just the best laps there. But
I'm kind of curious as to see what is what happened in the pits, because that was like the beginning of the end for him.
what we're going to do is go on board with him. What is his best lap time is my question.
2026.
A 2026.
So, but last lap was 219. So yeah, he's fallen off a bit. 2026. So
He's stuck
so
on.
Del Real actually still has the better lap of the two.
That
Just
second one.
just barely.
It's back to him.
What?
It would seem that when we ride on board driving view, we can only see Del Real.
Oh.
Yep, that was him both times.
Oh.
Stofmeel, away as always.
Away. Maybe let's take a little peek-see at Murray on check.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
So
it
that
looks like
timing appears to be broken yet again.
Yeah, damn it. I tried. Oh, Murray on check going
Murray.
around. Oh.
Ooh, I'm not seeing damage, but by the look of that looked like a pretty nasty hit right
I had
in
to
the
do some
corner.
suspension damage. Oh, it looks like he's still rolling though.
Ooh, yeah, the game isn't. I'm not seeing any sort of cosmetic damage here, but that had to have been nasty.
Yeah, the online damage modeling is definitely hit or miss, so we have to sort of see what happens. Well, so much for that.
Perhaps we can see any signs of damage on board.
Looks like he's got some sort of steering issue. It looks like he's kind of jostling a little bit, but not too much. I've definitely seen worse.
You know, I think we need a little competition yellow here to bunch the group back up.
Yeah.
If anyone has the ability to hack into a server and
Ooh.
throw a caution, please reach out to us.
Say no more. I'm on it. Just kidding.
Mr. Coconuts, out there on his own.
So we're at that point in the race where we have so few people relatively, and oh, we got a little bit of a. Wait, so Molly got by Stofmeel.
Whoa, at
What
some
happened?
point.
Stofmeel had an accident of some sort.
Stofmeel must have run wide. Maybe he went out in the gravel.
So now under fire from that looks like maybe it's Corkery.
That's a lap car.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
it is. It might be Wallace.
At some point, Molly got by. Perhaps that spin we
Oh,
missed
someone's
earlier.
off the track. Who is that? Looked like a Lamborghini. It might be Higgs. No, not Higgs. Who's that?
Oh, that is Magus.
Oh, Mike Mag is taking out one of our braking markers in a spectacular
Oh.
fashion.
Meanwhile, Stofmeel.
Stop him making a move on Molly. Looks like Molly was phased by the off car of Magus.
Oh, it's
Oh, taking the inside line.
he's gonna hold on to it.
Looks like
then.
Wallace is also gonna go for it, but he's not fighting for position. And that straight line speed, that Jaguar, even in tiny bursts, is just devastating. Although Molly's still side by side as we come into the front straight.
And once again, Mike
See
Stofmeel.
now, but oh, he's going for it. Molly's going for it. There.
Oh, he backed out.
Not quite back down, but Mike Stofmeel went to the edge. See now we have an interesting scenario because we have an interesting scenario.
That is Higgs indeed gaining on both of them quite a bit.
I was just gonna say we saw the Ferrari struggling to get past the Jaguar on even when it had the draft. But the Audi is faster, apparently, than the Ferrari. So with that draft, it might be able to hold on. Combined with the fact that it is a generally better handling car than the Jaguar, although not as good as the Ferrari, might mean that Molly might be poised to hold on at the very least, or take it back if the stars align. Although even now we're seeing Stofmeel pull away a little bit, so maybe that's not the case. Yeah, he's still making time even with that inferior Jaguar, so maybe I spoke too soon. The Aston Martin of, I believe that's Wallace, but I'm not sure, 24.
Mm-hmm.
So, wait, what?
Higgs again closing. Now he's down to 5.4 seconds behind. You know, we've seen a lot of little spins and shunts here. It's hard to know exactly who has what damage at this point. I think Stofmeel's running damage free. Mole, it's hard to tell. He did spin at one point. Then again, so did Stofmeel spin off camera. So
I'm getting confirmation that green Aston Martin at the back of this little group here is indeed Travis Wallace. So he's not fighting for position, but it's worth noting that it looks like the Audi and the Aston Martin are approximately evenly matched. I think the Audi has a little bit more straight line speed than the Aston Martin per se.
Also worth noting that Travis Wallace back here in 12th is hanging on with her 2 leaders, so these 2 leaders are not putting down the exceptional laps they were earlier.
Either that or Wallace is putting down exceptional laps. So.
It's true. But these 2 leaders have taken a couple tumbles in recent laps, and they might have scuffed up their tires a bit, perhaps overheated them.
Are you on board with Travis? I don't know what button that is. We're watching Travis right now. So we go on board with Travis. We can maybe get a little view of the pace difference. So we've seen the gap kind of open up evenly between Stofmeel, Mole, and Wallace. Obviously, this is not for position, but it's a good illustration, hopefully. Oh, yeah, exactly. So we see just the Aston Martin under braking is pretty effective. Oh, it looks like we had a little tap maybe, or that could have been lag. So we can see that the, Wallace getting a little bit off track, but able to hold it on nicely. Good job. Well, I'm trying to illustrate the point that the Aston Martin might be a little better suited for the twisties and the corners than the Audi, just based off what I've been seeing. But looks like Travis has faltered a little bit over the last couple corners, so we'll see. Of note, Mike Magus getting a drive-through penalty.
Oh.
That is probably resulting in resultant of going off track, perhaps. We've seen that happen in the past. I'm trying to think of where he would have gone off track so heavily that it would have counted against him. But
Well, we saw him running along the side as the leaders passed by. Perhaps that extended all the way down to the pit in, and he overshot that?
maybe taking out that sign was so egregious that the steward's just like, that's gonna cost us so much money. Fine him, drive-through penalty.
I believe it.
I mean, he's in last place, so yep, we just see him going to the pits to serve that drive-through penalty. But I mean, so while Wallace has lost a tiny itsy bit of time, it's not been much. Like we've seen Molly maybe lose a couple of car lengths, or lose a couple of car lengths to Molly. Meanwhile, Eric Friesen is catching up. So we're gonna see a very interesting four-way battle, maybe. Looks like I spoke too soon. Wallace losing substantial time, getting passed by Eric Friesen as we come up into Quarry Bend. So he was holding on. Looks like he just had a terrible run out on that first straight.
Looks like Del Real's in a nice little fight. In fact, I believe that.
Is that Del Real? Oh, it is. You're right.
That is
I thought it
indeed
was
who we're
Friesen.
watching.
So he's a lap back.
He is a full lap back.
So it's not for position, but it will be interesting to see how the likes of the Audi, the Jaguar, and the Ferrari, with maybe the addition of the Aston Martin, will compare.
Well, now that things have settled down a bit, looks like Higgs is hanging on, but no longer matching or catching.